Okay, got one more budget to look at with a few more scenarios before we wrap up. Now we're looking at somebody who has graduated, they are in work, but they've also thinking about starting a little side business. They get a little bit of freelance photography work as well. So they're doing quite well. I'd say they're quite comfortable, okay? But they are paying their essentials, their rent, their bills, their utilities. They are having to travel to work, and they're getting their food shopping in as well. Yeah, we've got no debts to worry about in regards to the bank. We've got our student finance, but that's taken out of our pay slip. And then again, we've got our non-essentials. So they clearly like going out and enjoying themselves. And they are doing quite a lot of saving as well. But this budget only works if we're actually receiving all of this income at the top. So your next challenge. Your camera has broken and you're now unable to earn the income from that photography. Your budget is now £150 short. So if I zoom in to our list of non-essentials, okay, where are you going to make that cut back? Take a minute to share what you think. Where are you going to cut that £150 out? Take it from multiple places or all the same place? It's up to you. Brilliant. Me personally, as I said earlier, the holiday fund is important to me, so I'm not going to cut that one back. I think the clothes fund, £100 every month. I'm going to run out of wardrobe, so I'm maybe going to cut that back. Maybe cut back on the going out as well. So maybe if I take £100 off the going out fund, £50 off the clothes fund. So all my bills are still being paid. I've just had to maybe make a few sacrifices to keep my budget working. Okay, but we want to get back into our photography again. So we are going to have to buy a new camera. We've got a couple of different options here. Do we go for a really short contract and pay a quite expensive monthly payment? Or maybe do we try and spread that monthly cost out? Okay, but we then have that debt for a lot longer, or maybe something in the middle. So what would you prefer to do? Have a bigger financial disruption for a short amount of time, or a smaller financial disruption for a longer amount of time? I think I'd go for the middle option this time. I'm going to go for the £100 a month, 12 months. And yeah, I might need to make a few more sacrifices. But maybe I'm going to have to take some more out the going out fund. Maybe my precious holiday fund's going to take a hit this time, okay, because I can't give up anything else. It's now 3 months later, okay? Your hard work is paid off and you're back doing your photography work. You're now earning £250 a month there rather than £150 a month. So we've now got an extra £100 to take advantage of in our budget. We want to make sure it's going to good use. So what could we do? Should we pay off our camera finance quicker so then we don't have to meet that monthly repayment for a longer amount of time? Do we maybe want to start building up that emergency fund so that we've got that nice cushion if something goes wrong again? Or are we going to use the extra £100 to replace some of the earlier cuts we put in our budget? What would you do? Great. I'm quite torn on this one. I don't know what I would do. I think I'm gonna pay off the camera finance quicker, because if that's £100 extra on that, by the time that's paid off, I'll have the extra £100 from the debt and the extra income. So then I will end up being £200 better off. And then maybe that's when I'll start saving. So I'm going to focus on paying off my debt first, and then I'll start saving afterwards. But that's just what I would do. So this just goes to show how useful a budget can be to help navigate some of these difficult situations in our financial lives. We can see our plans before us, we can make the best decision and make sure that every pound and penny is working for us. We talked a little bit about debt there at the end, and it is something that you can use your budget for as well. And there's a couple of different strategies that you might find useful as you make your way through life. So the first one of these is paying off the most expensive debt first. So you want to look at the APR of that debt, the annual percentage rate. The one that the bank is adding the most on per month is the one you want to focus any extra money on. So like I did with that camera, I'm paying off my most expensive debt first. Okay, when that's then paid off, we can move it down to the next one and to the next one and to the next one. So by the time we've got things that are on 0%, we've now got a nice chunk of money to pay those off. That's the most savvy way to pay off our debts if we're thinking about stopping that interest from ever existing. The alternative is to reverse it and pay off the smallest debt first. So you still meet those monthly repayments, okay? But if we pay off that small debt, we might get a psychological boost from achieving that. So it might take a little bit longer. It might cost us a little bit more in the long run. But if we want that psychological boost, then that's a good way to keep ourselves motivated paying off those debts. And then we can celebrate those victories as we get another one closed, another one chopped up. If maybe the debts are a little bit too out of control, we need some more support, a bit more formal support, you might approach your bank and look into debt consolidation. So they will basically take out a new loan to pay off all of your other debts. So that means you're just thinking about one interest rate, one payment, and you know it will have a clear end date. It can then make managing your debts a lot less stressful, but it might mean that your debt becomes more expensive in the long run, where you have combined these and stretched them out over the course of that loan. Whatever method you choose, you must always meet your minimum repayments on any debts that you have. But if you can free up some money from your budget, using it to pay off debts quicker is a good strategy. That brings us to the end of our little session today. So a few top tips from me. Please have a go at creating that budget. Okay, can you set up a savings account for any of those unexpected emergencies? Aiming for 6 months, but anything is better than nothing. If you do find yourself in a difficult financial situation, please talk to somebody as soon as possible. The longer you leave it, the more difficult it's going to be to start to solve that situation. Be mindful of your finances in regards to things like public Wi-Fi and sharing of personal details, and just get into the habit of checking your account regularly to watch out for that unexpected activity. Hey, you're protecting yourself, protecting your ability to meet that budget. Brilliant. And I'll pause for any questions.
Harrison, I just had one question that I think perhaps some students might be thinking. So most of the students watching this will be obviously living at home, so they might have not, prepared for university yet, or not be living away. So in that context of, where you don't have to necessarily be managing all of your expenses, what would you say would be a good step forward now that they can practically do to start creating their budget, and even whilst living at home start to make those good financial habits?
Brilliant. Yeah. One of the challenges we set some of our students is to make a record of all of your transactions for a week. See where your money does go, and then you can times that by 4 to work out the month, and then maybe times that by 12 to work out the year. And like I said earlier, sometimes that's the realization you need to have that, oh, that's actually where my money's going. And would I be comfortable, paying all of that up front? And sometimes it's that revelation that makes us realize, yeah, maybe I have picked up a few habits. And if you feel comfortable, asking parents and guardians, how do they manage their budget? How do they set up their finances? They might be worried about talking about these things. If you bring up the subject, maybe that takes the pressure off them a little bit. If they're worried about when's the right time to have those conversations.
Perfect, thank you. I think that was a really good presentation. A lot of food for thought there. So yeah, I hope students took away a lot from that.